Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Vedic Astrology podcast. My name is Fiona Marks. This time I'm not recording from IKEA, but I think we are entering a phase of lighter and shorter Vedic Astrology podcasts at the moment because we have 3 months of apartment renovations in the apartment right next door to us. So I'm going to grab my short moments when there's a bit of silence to reach out and connect with you through the podcast. And that's what I'm doing today. A beautiful day and actually evening now as I sit here. The evening before the winter solstice in the Northern Hemisphere, or the December solstice. And here in the Northern Hemisphere, it's associated with that shortest day and longest night. So here, as the sun is going down, we're entering that longest of the longest nights, maybe like Silent Night from that hymn, Silent Night, Holy Night. All is calm, all is bright. So we're going to have this period now for just a few days where it's almost as if the sun is stationary at that tropic of Capricorn, waiting for the beginning of the new solar year, as it heads on back on its journey back towards the equator and up to the Tropic of Cancer. So this Silent Night, Holy Night is it's a bit of a lullaby, isn't it, of saying to the sun, it's okay, you can relax, you can rest, you can sleep in holy peace because the dawn is coming, the longer days are coming if you're here in the Northern Hemisphere. So it's a beautiful time to be recording this podcast. Tomorrow, I'll sit down again to record a podcast about the sun entering Capricorn. That's what we've been following for most of the year. I think we're very close to have done a whole cycle now. But here right before that solstice, on the solstice eve, I thought we could have some fun with some last-minute gift ideas by Vedic Astrology. So what do you think of when you are looking for gifts for someone? And how can astrology help you out? Is there perhaps that one person that you just can't quite think of that's disturbing your peace of this holy night, of the stillness and silence that's available to us at this time of year? Let's see if Vedic astrology can ease your mind about gift giving. So I think there's a few places to look to help us out with gift ideas in Vedic astrology. Maybe an obvious place to look is what people want. Might be one way that you like to go about choosing your presents. And we have in Vedic astrology the idea of these 4 different house groupings, that there are dharmic houses, 1, 5, and 9, that are inspiring and auspicious, driven to rightness or driven to bringing us inspiration and closeness to life through that. And then there are afar houses of our responsibilities and of work, and they're 2, 6, and 10. But then we have the karma houses, which are where we get to explore our desires and play. So I think this might be one place that you might be tempted to think about for presents, because what people want is maybe a good thing to buy them for a present. But in another way, can those karma houses ever really be satisfied? So let's have a look. We've got the 3rd house, the 7th house, and the 11th house would all be houses of exploration and exploring ourselves through our desires and our wishes. And the 3rd house is all about exploring our adventure and even exploration itself and travels and hobbies. These are things that you might like to think about if that's maybe a person has some wishes around those things. Or the 7th house is about partnership and exchange, about trade and being valued and being seen for who you truly are, like really being seen. And the exchange that comes from that, we might buy someone a present that helps them with their exchanges, with their relationships. Maybe it's a gift of going to dinner with your partner, something as simple as this. And then we have the 11th house, which is all about belonging and validation and recognition. And it's our gains. But part of the reasons it's our gains is because the house grows throughout our lifetime. And it's an upachai house, the greatest upachai house, the one that's always growing. But this can mean that our 11th house desires, our aspirations, can always be growing like that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. We never quite get to that satisfaction. So this is why I think that perhaps looking for a present that is what someone wants maybe has the two sides of the coin, and that other side is, can that desire ever be met? For me, I think in Vedic astrology, maybe the place to look is the 4th house. The 4th house of contentment and the happiness of being, the moksha, the liberation of being content. So the 4th house, we can also sometimes think about it as the house of happiness. And it is associated with the home and the mother. And it's also associated with our heart center. And in that way, it's a moksha house of the sanctuary of our retreat where we are safe and secure. And because of that, we can be completely liberated and free. So let's take the 4th house as our inspiration. What if we would buy or give gifts that are related to a person's 4th house? So keeping in mind, this is a fun activity. This is not a serious PhD level study into these things. So then the 4th house, to find that out, you need to work out what the person's ascendant is. And for that, you're going to need more or less birth time. So something that gives you a bit of accuracy around their birth time. And then you can place that into any astrology software online, and it will tell you what is the ascendant or the rising sign. And from that, because in Vedic astrology, most Vedic astrology is whole house, whole sign. As soon as you know what the rising sign is or the ascendant, that becomes the whole sign is the 1st house. And you can just count to the 2nd sign, the 3rd sign, and by the time you get to the 4th sign, you would know that would be the person's 4th house. Now, if you don't know the person's birth time, you could use their sun as a representation of the soul and count 4 signs away from wherever the sun is in their chart. And this might lead you to a present that would bring happiness to their soul. So that's a beautiful thing. Or if you know where their moon is, you might count 4 signs from that. So count wherever the moon is, whatever sign that is, as 1, and then 2, 3, 4. And the 4th sign from the moon, you might be able to give a gift that will bring happiness to their emotions and to their receptivity and adaptability. So if you don't know the ascendant sign, you could always work with the sun or the moon. But let's imagine that you do know the ascendant of this person that you yet have not chosen a gift for. And why don't we go through and have a look at some of the ideas that might come. Now, you guys are getting very used to me speaking by each ascendant because we do that every month, looking at the sun's journey. So why don't we this month have a look at it by planet, so that just to break it up. So let's start with the sun as the beginning of our solar system. What would it mean if the sun rules your 4th sign and your 4th house? And that would mean that, in fact, this person is a Taurus ascendant. So for Taurus ascendants, Leo becomes a 4th sign. And Leo is a fixed sign and a masculine sign and a fire sign. So you can keep all of these things in mind and think about that fire of inspiration of the sun. The sun's also about consistency, dependability, leadership qualities. When we bring it into Taurus as Leo being their 4th house, where they have this capacity to be content, means that they're going to be using those qualities of Leo, naturally using those qualities of Leo and associating them with happiness and contentment. So maybe we're looking for something inspiring for this person's home, as the 4th house is also the home, and we've got the sun, which is such an indicator of inspiration. Maybe something that they can rely upon or depend upon. Maybe a beautiful lamp or candle for their home, something that they will look at and see the light, like bringing the sun into their home in a way. A book about beautiful homes or sanctuaries, and maybe even when one sanctuary is a castle, maybe there's a kind of very grandiose homes, or maybe a photo book of their own beautiful home as a way to ground themselves by connecting their contentment to this beautiful and inspiring home. So that would be if your sun is ruling the fourth sign. Now, the moon would be the next planet for us to think about. And the moon, we already spoke about, is always associated with emotions and adaptability and our receptivity. If the moon rules your fourth sign, that would mean that you're an Aries ascendant. So if you're an Aries ascendant and you count your way around 4 signs or 4 houses, you will find that we are then in Cancer, which is an active sign. It's a feminine sign and it's a water sign. It's a sign of complete acceptance, and it's a lovely combination for an Aries ascendant that has naturally so much fire and the inspiration to take action, to take risks, and to just do it. It's lovely that the fourth sign of the sanctuary is this fully accepting water sign. So it makes me think of like a flotation tank, some kind of water experience. Can you buy them a water experience? Or even like a massage. Sometimes they have those water massages or just a normal massage. Maybe a book of quotes with all about acceptance. Maybe one of those book of quotes like for people who do too much. Because I think Cancer as the fourth house for an Aries ascendant is offering the chance to take action on our relaxation, on our complete surrender to the acceptance of Cancer. Now, we've done the 2 luminaries, the sun and the moon. What about if Mars rules your fourth sign and fourth house? The planet Mars is, I always think, like an engineer, a problem solver, wants to take action, and it has that logical and righteous kind of approach, right and wrong approach. So this is the kind of gift we're looking for, something in that category we just spoke about. And it might be related to Aries or it might be related to Scorpio, because these are the 2 signs that are ruled by Mars. So if it's related to Aries, then the person's ascendant would be a Capricorn ascendant. So for Capricorn, we count Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces. The 4th sign away is Aries. So for Capricorn ascendants, their happiness is linked to Aries, is linked to masculine energy, active energy, fire sign. And we also remember that Mars is exalted when it's in Capricorn. So there's quite a connection here between Capricorn and Aries. Maybe this is a gift that's like a hike outside, some kind of outdoor activity, some kind of outdoor experience, and maybe something the person can do on their own, as Aries has such that joy in initiating and starting something. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that for a Capricorn ascendant, Mars is also ruling the 11th house. And we spoke about how the 11th is maybe a little insatiable. And when we see the 4th and the 11th together, we can have maybe an idea about our happiness being linked to validation from others. So it's lovely to maybe disconnect those a little bit and use that happiness of Aries to do something on your own, seeking something solo or something experiential. Or maybe you know this person in your life. Maybe you can bring them a mechanical problem to solve, something that they can construct on their own. Maybe this is the person that is putting together all of the children's toys that need parts and being connected, or maybe they're building the furniture from IKEA. So some kind of problem solving, something that they can do on their own. But if Mars is connected to Scorpio, then it means that the person is a Leo ascendant, because if we count from Leo through Virgo, Libra, and we get to Scorpio as the 4th house for a Leo ascendant. So Mars here is representing the feminine and fixed water sign of Scorpio. So whenever we have the feminine signs, it's a chance to integrate, to receive. So maybe this is a journal to integrate their learnings from the year. Maybe it's a crime novel or a mystery to solve, something to delve into for Scorpios. But maybe it's really a meaningful experience for this person. Maybe it's a church service or some kind of serving or some kind of inspiring other people, because for Leo Ascendant, Mars is ruling the 4th and the 9th. So can you find a gift that is meaningful for this person? That might be the inspiration that you're looking for. So keeping going in our fun way with Mercury, the next planet along, Mercury is associated with quick wit, with technology, with communication. And there are 2 places that Mercury rules. One is Gemini and one is Virgo. If we think about Virgo as the 4th sign, it lets us know that we're talking about a Gemini ascendant. So for Gemini ascendants, we count Gemini, Cancer, Leo, and find that the 4th sign is Virgo. And we have this very Mercury to Mercury connection here. Virgo is feminine, it's dual or mutable sign, and it's earth element. So I think for this person, something to organize their thoughts, their ideas, their emotions, maybe a diary, a journal, or maybe one of those resource management games where by playing the game, they're actually getting a chance to organize all of their thoughts, and their experiences are being organized internally, while on the external level, they're quietly managing some kind of resource management game online, or maybe there's a board game that is all about resource management. Whereas if you have Mercury ruling Gemini, then we know we're talking about a Pisces ascendant, because Pisces, Aries, Taurus, and Gemini would be the 4th sign from Pisces. And this is the masculine and mutable and air sign that Gemini is associated with. So much more quickness and lightness with Gemini. So technology really comes to mind here. Maybe a technology gift, maybe a game, Mercury's quick wit, maybe a trivia game even. Maybe a joke book or something that really uses their sense of humor. Something, I think, quirky or thought-provoking for the Pisces ascendant in your life. If we think about Jupiter as a planet ruling the 4th house, being associated with a person's 4th sign, Jupiter for everybody has got an energy around faith and optimism and opportunities and luck and wisdom and that big picture. Also a lot of generosity as well. So when Jupiter is the 4th Lord, it might be because it's related to Sagittarius, or it might be because it's related to Pisces, because it owns those 2 signs. So if it's related to Pisces, then just like we were talking about previously with Mercury, it is in fact the case that a Sagittarius ascendant would find that Pisces is their 4th sign. So once again, we see, just like Gemini, that the planet that rules the ascendant also rules the 4th house. The Gemini and Sagittarius share that in common. So when we think about Pisces, we know it's a feminine sign, it's a water sign, and it is once again mutable, where in Mercury and Jupiter territory, they just only rule mutable signs. So I think something that expands the horizon, if we think about Pisces, so expansive, and maybe even a pilgrimage in some way. Pisces has got that far off energy of nirvana or something, maybe a travel book about far off places, or a visit to an awe-inspiring museum, or somewhere that has a vast view where this Jupiter in Pisces can be stimulated and provoke that contentment of the 4th house for this person. If we have Jupiter in ruling Sagittarius as a fourth, then we know that we're talking about a Virgo ascendant, because Virgo is, and then if we count the next sign Libra and the next one Scorpio, the fourth one along would be Sagittarius. So for a Virgo ascendant, their happiness, their house of happiness and contentment is linked to masculine sign, fire sign, dual or mutable sign. We also know that Jupiter for a Virgo ascendant is going to rule this house of contentment and also the house of the partner. So in some ways, there's a temptation to find happiness through our partner. Maybe we're doing activities with our partner. But as that seventh house is a karma house, we once again have that caution around how much satisfaction or sense of completion can we find there. So maybe it's also using that energy of Sagittarius, maybe a gift around an inspiring text for this person, something about knowledge, something that they can increase their knowledge. And for Virgo ascendants, we know that the sun, our one's inspiration, is in the 12th position from a Virgo ascendant. So this person might be contemplating something quite inspiring and maybe some kind of link to a faith, to a body of knowledge, maybe through a book or maybe through a podcast. You could introduce them to a podcast or a favorite seminar or lecture that you've seen on YouTube or something like that. Venus as a planet that's connected to the fourth house. We know that Venus for everybody represents love, luxury, beauty, harmony, and this fair exchange, the valuing of ourselves and others, the enjoyment of this fair exchange between two very valuable beings or entities. And if you have Venus connected to your fourth house, it's either going to be with Libra or it's going to be with Taurus. These are the two signs that Venus owns. If it's with Taurus, that would mean that this person is an Aquarius ascendant. So Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, and then we find the fourth sign away from Aquarius is Taurus. Taurus is a feminine sign, an earth sign, and a fixed sign. It's just so associated with comfort, Taurus, isn't it? And maybe an Aquarius ascendant is not necessarily someone who gives themselves a lot of luxuries. Their ascendant lord is also their 12th lord. So Aquarius ascendants can be maybe connected to that ascetic thing or very charitable people, maybe giving to others. So if you're giving a gift to an Aquarius ascendant, maybe this is your chance to give them a little luxury. Maybe it's perfume or soap or something soft, nice. Maybe it's even food, maybe it's chocolates or something to indulge in. So that might be one way of doing it. Or maybe it is doing something meaningful, because for Aquarius ascendant, Venus is going to also be connected to the ninth. So maybe Venus, as it's connected to nurses, maybe this person would like to help the sick. Maybe something that you guys can do together is volunteer or be involved in some way with providing comfort to those who are healing. For Libra, if that is your fourth sign, if we count our way backwards, we know that this person must be a Cancer ascendant. And Libra would be their fourth house and fourth sign, and it's a masculine sign, an air sign, and it's active. We might find that a Venus, we're going to want to give a beautiful object that's created through fair exchange from some kind of trade initiative that's very balanced and fair, so that looks after the area or the people that it comes from. In Cancer ascendant, Venus is going to rule not only the fourth, but also the 11th. So as we spoke about, perhaps the 11th is the most insatiable of houses. So maybe giving a gift that is like a monthly membership to something, so that this is a gift that goes on. But maybe, buying them a monthly facial or something that they can enjoy repeatedly. Or maybe this is where you give a voucher that we're going to meet once a month together and go have coffee in town in the marketplace of Libra, and we're going to catch up and chat. And that would be a source of happiness for this person. if they have Venus as the fourth lord associated with Libra. And finally, that brings us to Saturn, a very practical, useful, authentic, and natural planet. So if this is associated with the person's fourth house, just even those keywords, you get the person something useful, practical, authentic, and natural. However, let's break it down a little bit into the two signs that Saturn rules is Capricorn and Aquarius. So if you have Capricorn as your fourth, or the person has Capricorn as their fourth, that would make them a Libra ascendant. And Capricorn is the feminine sign, an active sign, and an earth sign. It's also going to be ruling 4 and 5, right? It's going to rule the fourth and the fifth because Saturn's like that. It always rules two houses together. So maybe happiness through children. Maybe this person just wants to spend some time with their children that day. Or if they don't have children, they want to be around children. That could be the gift. But also the fifth is associated with creativity. So maybe it's a chance for this person to be creative. As this is a feminine sign, maybe through the creativity, the person is going to be able to reflect on their year or on where they're at right now. So they might be doing some kind of like earth creativity makes you think about pottery or something like that. But maybe it's just painting or some kind of physical creativity. And in doing that, the person can find the happiness of integrating. Definitely just want to underline something useful. You want to maybe check with this person, but they might really appreciate a great, whatever, saucepan or whatever it is that they've been wanting to receive, something that they could use. And the fifth house is also about self-improvement. So maybe a self-help book for this Libra ascendant this Christmas. And finally, we're looking at Saturn. If it is associated with Aquarius, that would make the person a Scorpio ascendant. And Aquarius is a masculine sign. It's our fixed air sign. And it links the third and the fourth because it's going to rule Capricorn as well. So for Scorpio ascendants, perhaps there's happiness through our friends and peers. So maybe serving the needy or unfortunate with friends on Christmas Day or around that time might be a lovely gift for this Scorpio ascendant. Or another way is that the third is hobbies. So maybe fixing up old items and perhaps getting them like a workshop that you guys could do together, a group of friends where you're all restoring something. I don't know, restoring broken items from the home or doing some improvement of the wood, revarnishing things or making old things functional and new again. Maybe that will be a gift that your Scorpio ascendant would like, being able to use their hands, be with friends and peers and get happiness from making something old functional again. All right, that is a very short, hopefully fun and inspiring discussion of how to think about some last minute gifts for your friends, for your family, for your various ascendants. And I will take this opportunity to wish you a beautiful silent night and a chance to go into the stillness of the sun's movement, whether you're in the northern hemisphere or the southern hemisphere. The sun is staying at that same declination for a few days now. So I'm going to wish you that chance to connect with your own stillness and through that to your light and inspiration inside. And look forward to seeing you again soon because we'll be talking about the sun entering Capricorn. So until then, best wishes and beautiful silent night, and see you again soon.